My mom threw me out when I was pregnant with nothing. I raised my daughter in shelters for 4 years. And now suddenly, she wants to be a grandma. So what changed? Why does she want back in our lives now? You know what's funny? My mother threw me out when I was pregnant at 22. Gave me 2 hours to pack my life into garbage bags. I spent 4 years raising my daughter in shelters and roach-infested studios while she told everyone I was dead. Then my daughter's father showed up. Turns out he's from one of the wealthiest families in Switzerland. Suddenly, there's a Mercedes in my driveway and a trust fund with my daughter's name on it. And guess who came knocking with flowers and tears? Yeah. My mother wants to be grandma now. Let me tell you how that went. At 6 p.m., I sat on the front step with my 2 garbage bags, and I heard the locks click behind me. She actually did it. She really changed the locks. I had nowhere to go. No plan. No money. Just 2 garbage bags and a baby growing inside me. Here's the thing about my daughter's father, his name was Marcus. We met at a college orientation party. He had this amazing Swiss-German accent, and when he told me about growing up in Zurich, it felt like he was describing another planet. We spent one night together. One perfect, stupid, reckless night. He was flying back to Switzerland the next day. I didn't get his last name, didn't get his number, didn't get his school. When I found out I was pregnant 6 weeks later, I had no way to find him. It was like he'd been a dream. The shelter was in the basement of a church downtown. The intake worker's name was Patricia, and she had this exhausted look, like she'd seen 1,000 girls like me walk through that door. How old are you, honey? 22. Family support? No. Father of the baby involved? I don't know how to find him. She handed me a clipboard with about 50 forms. I shared a room with 3 other women. You could stay for 60 days, then you had to find somewhere else. 60 days to figure out how to survive with a baby on the way. I was 7 months pregnant when I got kicked out for missing curfew. I'd picked up an extra shift and the bus broke down. I literally ran the last mile trying to make it back, but I was 12 minutes late. 12 minutes cost me my bed. 30-minute script, my mother left me when I was pregnant. My mother left me when I was pregnant, now she thinks she can step into my daughter's life. My mom threw me out when I was pregnant with nothing. I raised my daughter in shelters because I had nothing for 4 years. Then her billionaire father from Switzerland found us. Now my mom suddenly wants to be grandma. You know what's funny? My mother threw me out when I was pregnant at 22. Gave me 2 hours to pack my life into garbage bags. I spent 4 years raising my daughter in shelters and roach-infested studios while she told everyone I was dead. Then my daughter's father showed up. Turns out he's from one of the wealthiest families in Switzerland. Suddenly, there's a Mercedes in my driveway and a trust fund with my daughter's name on it. And guess who came knocking with flowers and tears? Yeah. My mother wants to be grandma now. Let me tell you how that went. The abandonment. At 6 p.m., I sat on the front step with my 2 garbage bags, and I heard the locks click behind me. She actually did it. She really changed the locks. I had nowhere to go. No plan. No money. Just 2 garbage bags and a baby growing inside me. Here's the thing about my daughter's father, his name was Marcus. We met at a college orientation party. He had this amazing Swiss-German accent, and when he told me about growing up in Zurich, it felt like he was describing another planet. We spent one night together. One perfect, stupid, reckless night. He was flying back to Switzerland the next day. I didn't get his last name, didn't get his number, didn't get his school. When I found out I was pregnant 6 weeks later, I had no way to find him. It was like he'd been a dream. The shelter. The shelter was in the basement of a church downtown. The intake worker's name was Patricia, and she had this exhausted look, like she'd seen 1,000 girls like me walk through that door. "How old are you, honey?" 22. "Family support?" "No." "Father of the baby involved?" "I don't know how to find him." She handed me a clipboard with about 50 forms. "I shared a room with 3 other women. You could stay for 60 days, then you had to find somewhere else. 60 days to figure out how to survive with a baby on the way. I was 7 months pregnant when I got kicked out for missing curfew. I'd picked up an extra shift and the bus broke down. I literally ran the last mile trying to make it back, but I was 12 minutes late. 12 minutes cost me my bed. Giving birth alone. I gave birth at County General Hospital on a Tuesday morning. I'd been having contractions since Monday night, but I waited because I knew the hospital bill would destroy me. When I finally couldn't take it anymore, I walked to the emergency room. 4 miles. Stopping every few minutes to breathe through contractions. When they asked who to call, who was coming, I just shook my head. Nobody's coming. My daughter came into the world at 6:47 a.m., screaming her tiny lungs out. They put her on my chest and she stopped crying immediately. She was perfect. 7 pounds, 3 ounces of absolute perfection. "What's her name?" the nurse asked. "Emma," I said. "Her name is Emma." The social worker tried to talk to me about foster care, adoption, temporary placement. I held Emma tighter and told her I'd figure it out. I wasn't giving up my baby. Not ever. I found a studio apartment on Craigslist. $600 a month. The ad said, "Cozy." What it didn't say was that there was black mold on the walls and cockroaches everywhere. Emma slept in a dresser drawer for the first 3 months. I couldn't afford a crib. I lined the drawer with towels and blankets and prayed she'd be okay. At night, I'd lie on the floor next to the dresser with my hand on her tiny chest, feeling her breathe. I got a job waitressing at a diner 6 blocks away. The owner, Tommy, let me bring Emma to work during early shifts. She'd sleep in a carrier in the back room. The customers were mostly creeps. I had one regular who would grab my ass every single time I walked past his table. They all tipped like garbage. But I smiled. I said thank you. I swallowed my rage because I needed every dollar. My younger sister Jessica was 19 and still living at home. But she couldn't stay away completely. She started meeting me at parks around the city, bringing bags of baby clothes from Goodwill, diapers, sometimes a $20 bill. "Mom said if I help you, she'll cut me off," she'd whisper, looking over her shoulder. But she kept coming. Every 2 weeks like clockwork. Those visits kept me sane. I didn't know until later, but my mother told everyone I'd moved to Las Vegas to become a stripper. Not just some people. Everyone. Extended family. Her church group. The neighbors. "Sarah made some very poor choices," she'd say. "We tried to help her, but she wanted to go her own way. We're praying for her." When Jessica finally told me, I laughed until I cried. Because apparently, that was easier to explain than, I kicked my pregnant daughter out of the house. The best part? My mother lived 25 minutes away from my apartment. She could have driven over any time to check if we were alive. She never came once. For years of poverty with a baby looks like walking miles to work in the dark because you can't afford the bus. It looks like choosing between diapers and food. It looks like eating rice and beans for 3 weeks straight so your kid can have formula. It looks like your daughter sleeping in a dresser drawer because you can't afford a real bed. But you know what else it looked like? Emma learning to read at 4 years old because I read to her every single night. Emma doing basic math before kindergarten. Emma being funny and kind and smart despite everything. I did that. With no help. No support. Nothing. For years after I got kicked out, a man walked into the diner where I worked. Expensive suit. Perfectly styled hair. Swiss-German accent that made my heart stop. He sat in my section and stared at me. Did you attend State University 4 years ago? My order pad fell out of my fingers. Marcus? Actually, it's Benjamin. Benjamin Foster. Marcus is my middle name, I went by it in college. I've been looking for you for 3 years. 3 years. He'd been looking for me for 3 years. He hired private investigators. He spent thousands of dollars trying to find the American girl he'd spent one night with. When I told him about Emma, he cried right there in the middle of the diner. I have a daughter. Her name is Emma. She's 4. 4 years. I missed 4 years. Then he said something that changed everything. My family owns a chain of luxury hotels across Europe. I want to set up a trust fund for Emma. I want to buy you a house. I want to give you back child support for every month I missed. Within a week, Benjamin bought us a house. Set up a trust fund for Emma. Started paying $8,000 a month in back child support. His family flew in from Switzerland with presents and love and acceptance. For the first time in 4 years, I could breathe. The day after Benjamin's family visited, my mother showed up at my new house. She brought flowers. Expensive ones. She brought tears too. Sarah, sweetheart, I've made such a terrible mistake. I've missed you so much. Family should forgive each other, don't you think? I stood in the doorway, not letting her in. You missed us? Every day. Every single day. You live 25 minutes away. You could have visited any time. I was scared. I was angry. I didn't know how to fix it. So you told everyone I was a stripper in Vegas? Her face went pale. Jessica told you that? Yeah. She also told me you've been collecting sympathy cards about your troubled daughter for 4 years. I can explain. My neighbors saw the Mercedes. You heard about Benjamin's family and suddenly you remember you have a granddaughter. Benjamin walked out of the kitchen. He'd heard everything. My mother's face lit up. She extended her hand like she was meeting royalty. You must be Benjamin. I'm Sarah's mother, Emma's grandmother. Benjamin looked at her hand like it was covered in sewage. You're the woman who threw out her pregnant daughter. It was tough love. She needed to learn. Benjamin pulled out his phone and showed her something. Her face went white. This is the police report from the shelter where your daughter spent her first month homeless. This is her social services file showing she applied for emergency housing at 7 months pregnant. This is the hospital report showing she gave birth alone with no support. The shelter intake form lists her as an abandoned minor. She was 22, pregnant, and homeless because of you. You lived 25 minutes away. You could have checked. You chose not to. I finally found my voice. Get out. Sarah, please. No. Get out of my house. She looked at Benjamin like he might defend her. He just stood there with his arms crossed. She picked up her purse and her flowers and left. Benjamin hired a lawyer named Jennifer Wilson to represent me. I work for you, she said clearly. Benjamin is paying my fee, but you're my client. She walked me through getting a DNA test, setting up formal custody arrangements, protecting Emma legally. Your mother has very little standing to claim grandparents' rights, Jennifer explained. But we need to be proactive. My mother left me a voicemail a week later. Sarah, I forgive you for keeping Emma from me all these years. I'm ready to move forward as a family whenever you are. For Emma's sake. She forgave me. For keeping Emma from her. While I was homeless and terrified and alone. I didn't call her back. We met at a public park on a Saturday morning. Benjamin brought a cheap soccer ball and asked Emma about her favorite colors. She was shy at first. But he was patient. "Why do you talk funny?" Emma asked. Benjamin laughed. "I'm from Switzerland. People talk differently there." "Do they have McDonald's in Switzerland?" "Yes, but the menu is in French and German." They kicked the soccer ball back and forth. Benjamin never promised trips or gifts. He just answered her questions honestly. After an hour, Emma ran back to me. "Mommy, can we see Benjamin again? Do you want to?" She nodded seriously. "He's nice." That night, tucking her into bed, Emma asked, "Is Benjamin going to be my daddy? Would you like him to be?" "I don't know yet. But I think so. Maybe. We'll take our time and figure it out together, okay?" The DNA test confirmed it. 99.99% probability of paternity. When Emma asked Benjamin directly if he was her daddy, he knelt down to her level. "Yes, Emma. I'm your daddy. I didn't know about you before, but now I do, and I want to be part of your life if that's okay with you." She thought about it seriously. "Do I have grandparents in Switzerland?" "Yes. And they want to meet you very much." She nodded and went back to her coloring. 2 weeks later, my mother showed up at Emma's school asking about pickup procedures. The principal called me immediately. I filed a formal restriction to prevent my mother from having any access to Emma. Jennifer sent my mother a cease and desist letter, warning that any additional attempts would result in legal action. Then Jennifer suggested mediation. "Your mother needs to prove she's changed before she gets anywhere near Emma. And we need it all in writing." The mediation took place downtown. My mother arrived on time, tissues ready. The mediator explained the rules. My mother would acknowledge what she'd done without excuses. She would commit to therapy. She would respect my boundaries completely. My mother cried immediately. I made a terrible mistake. I cut her off. "No. You don't get to explain it away. You threw me out when I was pregnant. You changed the locks. You told everyone I was a stripper. You let me be homeless for 4 years while you lived 25 minutes away. Say it. Out loud. No excuses." Her face crumpled. "But she said it. I threw you out with 2 hours' notice when you were pregnant. I changed the locks. I told the family you were stripping in Vegas. I never checked on you or Emma for 4 years. And I was wrong. Completely wrong. I'm sorry." The mediator took notes. "What are you willing to do to prove you've changed?" My mother agreed to weekly therapy. Written accountability. 0 contact with Emma until I decided otherwise. Life started to feel stable. Benjamin visited every other weekend. Emma marked every visit on her calendar with stickers. I enrolled in community college classes. Emma started therapy to help her process having a father suddenly appear. Every week, my mother's therapist sent verification that she attended sessions. After 6 months, I agreed to let my mother have 1 supervised visit with Emma at a family center downtown. After an hour, Emma came out with a colored butterfly picture. In the car, she was quiet. "How do you feel about seeing your grandmother?" She was nice. But sad. We colored and talked about animals. "Do you want to see her again soon?" "Maybe. But not next week. I need to think about it." "That's completely okay. You get to decide." We threw Emma's 6th birthday party at the park. Simple decorations, grocery store sheet cake, games. Emma ran around laughing so hard she got hiccups. My mother came for her supervised 30-minute window. She watched from the pavilion's edge, quiet and respectful. When her time was up, she said goodbye and left without drama. I watched her go and felt something unexpected, not forgiveness exactly, but maybe the beginning of it. She was doing the work. She was respecting boundaries. She was trying. 2 years after my mother came back into our lives, she asked to meet me alone. We met at a coffee shop. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said. "But I want you to know that I see what I did. I see the person I was. And I'm working every day to be someone different." "Why did you do it?" I finally asked. "Why throw me out?" She was quiet for a long time. "Because I was ashamed. You were supposed to go to college, get married, have kids in that order. When you got pregnant, it felt like you'd ruined everything I'd worked for as a parent. I was more concerned about what the neighbors would think than whether my daughter was okay. I was terrified. I was 22 and pregnant and alone. I know. And I should have been there for you. Instead, I protected my reputation and let you suffer." We sat in silence. "I see Emma with you," my mother continued. "I see how you love her. How you've built a life for her from nothing. You're a better mother than I ever was." I felt tears running down my face. I had to be. I had no other choice. You could have given her up. But you didn't. You fought for her. You survived hell for her. Because I love her. I know. And watching you love her has taught me what real love looks like. Today, Emma is 8 years old. She has 2 parents who love her. A grandmother who's earning her place in her life slowly. An aunt who adores her. Grandparents in Switzerland who video call every week. My mother and I aren't close. Maybe we never will be. But she's consistent. She respects boundaries. She does the work. And sometimes, that's enough. I finished my bachelor's degree last spring. Benjamin and I aren't together romantically, but we're friends. Real friends. We make decisions together. I still have bad days. Days when I remember the roaches and the drawer crib and the customers who grabbed my ass for $3 tips. But I also have good days. Days when Emma comes home excited about a book. Days when my mother shows up and follows every single rule without complaint. People ask me if I regret not giving Emma up for adoption. The answer is no. Those 4 years taught me who I am. They taught me I'm strong enough to survive anything. They taught me what real love looks like, the kind that stays even when everything falls apart. My mother thinks she can step back into Emma's life like nothing happened. And maybe, eventually, she'll earn a real place there. But it won't be because of her tears or her apologies. It'll be because she does the work. Because she proves through consistent action that she's changed. Emma deserves people in her life who show up. Who stay. Who love her unconditionally. I learned how to be that person in a shelter with no money and no help. Emma will always know who was there when it mattered. Who fought for her. Who survived hell to give her a better life. And that person was me. Thank you for watching Reddit Family Stories. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had someone reappear in your life after abandoning you? How did you handle it? Let me know below.